Alright, what an awful movie to come back to. I mean, coming back with a bang is an overstatement. Quite a big overstatement. This is your review of Wonder Woman 1984. So, time to take a deep dive into it. There are some spoilers in this review, so if you are ever so worried about this wonderful movie being spoiled, you shouldn't be, then please stop, watch the movie, come back to the video. If not, let's dive into it. In the second installment of Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins, Diana, who is Wonder Woman, works in a museum in the archaeology department while her alter ego Wonder Woman is solving petty crimes at the time. And so a wishing stone ends up falling into the hands of the museum. Somehow they figure out it is a wishing stone, and a not so powerful business owner uses the wishing stone to gain power by becoming the wishing stone, and he becomes the main villain to the whole rest of the plotline and movie. The secondary villain is Diana's co-worker, played by Kristen Wiig, who wishes to be strong, sexy, and cool like Diana. I guess this is high school again. Anyways, they become the main villains, and Diana sets out to stop her with her love of her life wished back into her life in someone else's body. So, let's dive into the movie, what I liked, what I didn't like. So first were the two opening scenes. The first scene of her as a child running through an obstacle course. This is something I expect to see out of an origin story, not a sequel, and I thought we already had this background of Diana in the first movie. I didn't think we needed it again, but here we are watching what felt like 10-minute segment. I think it was close to 10-minute segment of her as a child running through an obstacle course. The following scene, which is the mall scene, which is corny. It is so bad. It felt like a kid's movie made for a kid. Not like a kid's movie that's like, oh, it's for anyone. It's a kid's movie made for kids, and that's it. It wasn't good. It was corny. It was cheesy. Paul Blart Mall Cop had better mall scenes than Wonder Woman 1984. I guess the studio and some producers had gone to Patty Jenkins, the director, and said, hey, these first two scenes, I don't know if they're needed. We should take them out of the movie. But Patty Jenkins fought to keep those two scenes in the movie. For what reason? I couldn't tell you. It should have been cut. She should have listened to everyone else around her, but she wanted them in so bad. I'm hitting a complete snooze button on the first two scenes. They were awful, not needed.
We won't be doing that today.
One of the only redeeming qualities about this movie that I actually liked was the two side characters and the side villain and the main villain. I think Kristen Wiig, it was interesting to see her in a villain role, which we don't usually get to see her, and I think she did it pretty well. I don't really have too many complaints with her. And then I think the major redeeming quality about this movie was the Mandalorian himself, Pedro Pascal. He played Maxwell Lord, and I think he did actually a really good job. Other than all the other things that I hated on with this movie, he was probably the more redeeming quality that I actually enjoyed watching on screen. So Maxwell Lord becomes the stone, and there's a lot of confusing aspects to the stone before you actually learn the properties, the rules of this wishing stone. I think Aladdin had better rules behind their wishes and the process of the wishes than this movie did. This was unneededly confusing.
Be specific with your words. The deal is in the detail.
Got it.
At times you didn't really understand if people needed to be touching Pedro Pascal to wish on the stone, and could he wish anything he wanted at any time. It came out later that he takes something and wish from other people if they wish from him. So it took a while to get there, and it was really confusing. So I think the stone itself could have been laid out the rules and the history a lot sooner instead of leaving us guessing. And it wasn't like a good, ooh, what's it gonna be? Is it, mystery about the stone? It was an unneeded amount of confusion till we figured it out, and it wasn't a fun mystery to try and figure out. It was more annoying. Another thing I didn't really like about this movie was it felt like a good hour and a half of the movie was just a straight love story. Now, I think it's a bad idea to throw love stories in superhero movies? No, I think that's good. A lot of great superhero movies have their love stories, but they interweave them a lot smoother than Wonder Woman did. I felt like I was watching two different movies. It was the Lara Croft love story and then Wonder Woman superhero film. Both didn't really mix well, and you could feel like it was two completely different sections of the movie, and I didn't really like that. I want it to be woven in to the storyline very well, and this wasn't done well at all. Another thing, this action scenes, when it meant to be epic and big and these amazing scenes, just seemed to fall short, especially with the CGI. I usually have an issue with DC movie CGIs. I think they come off a little video game-esque or not as realistic as a lot of other superhero CGI films. Because for the most part, I'm not a huge DC movie fan, but on the exception, I did really like Wonder Woman 1, which is why I'm so upset Wonder Woman 2 did not live up to the hype. Other than Wonder Woman, I like Shazam. I think they broke away from the DC, that DC feel, and then Aquaman, I also kind of like. It still has that DC CGI, but there are some good scenes, and then once again, there are some DC really bad scenes in there.
Are you saying they executed her? Because she had me?
So, I felt like Wonder Woman 1 set the bar, and then Wonder Woman 2 said, forget the bar, let's just dive back down into the bad pit of DC movies. So overall, this movie was cheesy, corny, it was way too long. It was 2 hours and 30 minutes, maybe 30 to 45 minutes too long, which is a lot for a movie. And then also, it was just a really disappointing sequel to a really good structure from a first movie. Overall, I'd give this movie a 4.8. Would I recommend you go out of your way to see this movie? No.